Hey guys, we have a crazy banner weekend this weekend, but yet somehow people are unsure whether they're going to pull or not. So I'm going to give you guys my opinion on this. And realistically, I'm pulling, and I think a lot of you guys should consider pulling, but I'm also going to highlight the reasons why you might not want to. So first of all, every time, skip the 2x. Pretend the 2x doesn't exist. It's not there, okay? We got too many great banners. Next, we have Narissa, and you get to choose your own legendary. And then we have a Nascent on Divines. And then we have a Torodor and Yavar banner. So, let's break it down. First of all, the Nascent Divine Summoning, I think if you are close to Divine Pity, you should go for it. If you think you'll get lucky, you should go for it. If you're earlier in the game, you do not need to worry about this banner. This is more for people who have a lot of the heroes already. This is a great banner. It's just divines are very hard to get. And it's very rare that you pull things off of a 2x. So just keep that in mind, but I would pull on this. I don't think there's any point in saving your divines. Moving on, let's go to actually the Torodor banner, which I'm going to very quickly highlight. The Torodor banner is amazing, okay? If you do not have Torodor, Torodor is the single most important lord that can be pulled from blues. It is not close. Torodor is a top 5 lord in the game, undeniably, maybe even a top 3. I think he is more important than most characters. I would say Torodor is debatably the most important lord. All right. Now, aside from that, we also have Yavar, which is, in my opinion, a top 2 lord in the game. Yavar is good everywhere. Everywhere. And if you're progressing through the game and you haven't beat all content, he's going to maybe even be the number 1 lord for you. Because piercers are just so strong, especially if you have a Hex, you have a Silas. Yavar is going to carry you in everything. I promise you, he's good in everything. He's super meta in Arena as well, if you're a little bit more of a later game player. He's super good in Codex. He's relevant, if not one of the better units in the game for at least 2 of the codexes, usable in more. You know, he's great in GVG. He's the highest BP lord in the game. Can be used on defense. Yavar has a lot going for him. All right. This is a great banner. But I know the reason why people are kind of unsure is because 2 things. One of them is there may be an Ingrid banner near Anniversary. I think it's the most likely ancient lord that they run. We just got a Valderon banner. Pope is a little less relevant than Ingrid. And I think we got a Pope banner a little bit more recently. It's been a while since Ingrid. And I think that's going to happen. So if you're waiting for Ingrid, that's okay. But simply, I'm going to make it pretty clear cut here. If you do not have Torodor or Yavar, you are pulling on this banner. I do not care who you are pulling on this banner. I'm going to make it very simple. You have to pull on this banner. These are 2 of the best lords in the entire game on a single banner. But where it gets a bit cloudy is what if you already have Torodor and you don't have Yavar? Then it becomes a little rough because it's like a 30% chance to get, well, 30-something% chance to get each lord. And then there's like a around 30% chance to get neither of them. It's a little rough with these double lord banners. I would still pull for Yavar because he's so important. But if you really want Ingrid, then you don't need to go for it. And if you have Yavar and Torodor, unless you're a GVG player, I would skip it. If you have both of them and you don't care about GVG BP, you don't care about the A5 Torodor, which is incredibly good for GVG. Getting an extra life is one of the best awakenings you could ever get. After this banner, I expect to see a lot more awakenings on GVG players for this. I know I'm pulling on this 100%. But it's really up to you, right? So if you don't have either, you have to go for it. If you just have Torodor, you don't have Yavar, it depends on how much you need Yavar. If he's the only lord that you're really missing, you have Praetus, you have Ingrid, I would pull on it. If you are waiting for an Ingrid type banner because she would help your account a little bit more, then I would save for her. It really just depends. So go into your lords and see what you're missing and evaluate from there. Now we get on to Narissa. Now I'm not going to do the tier list yet. I'm going to post that later today just because this is more a broad thing. First of all, Narissa is incredibly good. And I'm going to make it very simple. If you don't have Pharisee, you must pull in this banner. Like, if you don't have Versi, you have to have a Versi-like unit. If you're really early in the game, like, you know, you've been playing for 6 months or something, and you haven't really been pushing really high in Abyss, you haven't been pushing higher Gear 2 stages, you can ignore this banner if you would like. But at that point, if you're that early on, you're going to want to have the choose your own hero portion of this banner. So I would still pull, right? Narissa is very good. The main things is she has 20% AoE damage taken reduction, and it becomes 30% on the A1. Her awakenings are really good. She has 100% inspiration, uptime. She does damage in her ult, but you're probably not going to use her ult very much. She heals 2 people at the same time. She increases the healing your allies receive. She is insane. That's only half of what she does. She dispels, she does everything, right? APOC, one of the best healers, if not the best healer in the game. Comparable to Elowen. In Abyss, probably the best healer. You need her and Aelin, and you're golden for healers for the rest of your life for Abyss. Gear 2, incredibly important. Healer Codex, incredibly important. She was healing like a monster, right? All of this stuff, Narissa is going to be top tier for, and I would say she's worth going for. Now, beyond that, to evaluate if you want to pull in this banner, just look at the heroes you're missing. So if I go to my roster, I'm missing Xena, I'm missing Eris, I'm missing Twyla. Now, I'd like Twyla. I wouldn't really use her, though, because Kikiri and Wukong are so strong, and I have them both pretty much awakened. Eris, I don't really need. He's good in GVG, usable in Arena. Not really that crazy. I don't really care. Xena, I would never use. I don't really care. Moving on, what else am I missing? Vorn would be nice, but I don't have Nastia, so I don't really care, right? And then we get to Beatrix is really good. I wouldn't really pull for her. Malric's not great. That's probably the worst testing video I've ever done. We got Ezra and Tallulah, which I don't care about. But then you see that there's a big standout. Now, I didn't go very hard for Bubba, because Bubba, when he released, was not that great. And then they buffed him and designed content around him, and now I really need him. So, I'm going to pull in this matter for Beelzebub. Now, something else you could look for are certain heroes like, do you have a Hex? Do you have a Hatsit? Do you have a Silas? Do you have, you know, Constance? Constance is really good. If you have Diao Chen, you don't need her as much, but for those of you who missed Diao Chen, you should go for Constance. I mean, there's a lot of different heroes. I mean, Arrogance is great. It's just basically evaluate what you're missing. Like, if you have Nastia and Vorn, maybe you should go for Numera. Maybe if you are looking for important awakenings on certain units, like Numera's A3, maybe you only have the A2 like I have, and you have the whole poison comp, maybe you want to go for this A3. This A3 is monstrous, right? These are the things you just got to evaluate. Look into your awakenings, look into what you want specifically. Like, I could go to, for example, Hex, and if I really wanted the A5, because I use Hex everywhere, then I could pull for the A5. But I would say it's a good time to prioritize new units you're missing that are really holding you back by not having them before looking at awakenings. But awakenings are solid to keep in mind. Just keep that in mind. But that's kind of my whole perspective on these banners. The question is, do you pull on these now or do you wait for Kagiri banner? Because I think it's highly likely Kagiri banner's coming. I mean, the devs have it scheduled. It has been confirmed. Like I said, I guess this like a month ago, they're rerunning Kagiri. I mean, it's pretty obvious for Anniversary. And then I think they're also running the new class, the tacticians, the guys that are on horses that walk around and stuff. I think they're going to run a limited with them. So you want to try to hold on to at least 300 summons if you can, because last time, within 2 weeks, we had 2 limiteds during the anniversary. We had Dahlia and Honora, and a lot of people had to only pick one. So personally, I think this is a really good banner that you shouldn't be skipping. But if you're not going to spend and you want to be a bit smart with your resources, maybe you want Kagiri Awakenings. I mean, Kagiri Awakenings take a lot of summons, right? Limited banners are not very forgiving. They've never been forgiving. So you gotta just prep for that, right? If you can save enough summons for 2 limiteds and be a little bit comfortable for anniversary, then I would pull this weekend. But if you're really hard into Kagiri, Kagiri's all you're missing, pretty much, and you don't really need Narissa because you don't have as much of a use because you have Pharisee already, then I would say to save is a good option. Now it depends on the person. Do you need Narissa or not? But realistically, what I'm going to say is if you care any ounce about GVG, or you don't have either of these two units, or you already have Ingrid, you already have Pope, and you need Yavar, I would pull on this Ancient banner. Now, if you do not have enough summons for limiteds in the future, if you already have Pharisee, I would skip this banner. Otherwise, if there's a hero you really need, like for example for me with Beelzebub, where he's like really all I'm needing, then I'm going to pull in this banner. But that's because I'm willing to spend, and I get Content Creator Gems. So it's really, you got to kind of think in your head, do I have enough pulls to go for this? And does the reward outweigh the risk? Realistically, right? That's something you got to think about. Personally, I think most of you should skip this because Gagiri is just so important right now. But of course, like I said, depends on you to think about whether it's worth it or not. And that's kind of where I'm at on this banner. I think it's an amazing banner weekend. It's just really unfortunate that it's placed right before anniversary, which is in about a month. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to say overall, this is most likely a skip for most of you. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you so much. Tier list video coming later. That's it for me. Destined signing up.